Yeah, race is a construct and privilege is a reality. And if you don't start taking a real look at that, saying, well, if you have been given privilege, what are you freaking doing with it?
Like, it's funny because my friends, when we used to go to parties, they would like use me as their in. Like, they'd be like, we would get there and they'd be like, hey guys, do the thing. And I would always be like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And I would do it. But this one time we got to a party and my friend Sam was like, Kayla, do the thing. And I was like, you know what? No, like, I'm not just like, you're like a little dancing monkey that you can just like put on the street and make money. Like, no, you can't make me do this. And she like bugged me and just like, please, Kayla, please. So finally I was just like, oh my God, you know what? Fine, Sam. And I like did it like 10 seconds. I was like, and then like the voice of God came from the party. It was like, who just beatbox? And literally, there was probably 20 people in this backyard and everyone just shut up and they all looked at me and it was like Moses. Like, he just like, everyone got out of his way and he came to me and he was like, it was you? I was like, yeah. He was like, do it again. So I did it and it happened to be like one of the best beatboxers in America in like 2012. His name is J Flow and he did dubstep stuff, right? So when I heard him do it, he was like, and when I saw him in front of me, I was like, well, first of all, I was like, what the hell is going on? But second of all, I kind of like saw more of like the mechanics. I was like, oh, okay, is here, but it's like up here, and okay, that's coming from here. So then he introduced me to like the community of beatboxers, which I didn't even know that there was. And it was really fun because it was like finding your tribe of like weird people, you know what I mean? Like when you find someone who's like,
aliens.
Yeah, it's like when you find someone who likes like peanut butter and brie and cucumber sandwiches, like you think that you're the only person that eats that, and then you meet someone, you're like, yo, I eat that shit too, yeah.
Peanut butter.
Yeah, don't eat that. I'm not saying that this is a recipe.
That was a very
I was just doing things that were weird.
Could be alright though.
It could. We could try this, guys. This could be like where it came from. But yeah. But then I started to practice more, and then I realized that it's just like this is what humans are all given. Like, we are meant to use our voices, and that's why people in Africa, they use clicks, right? It's not because they have different body parts. They just are like, they just did this, and someone was like, oh yeah, this is, and that's like they just decided to use that. And that's why I think music is so powerful, right? Because we're actually, I feel like, using our instrument in a way that maybe it's meant to be used.
I'm 50 now. I was 32 and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I didn't have breast cancer in my genes and my lineage. So I had to look at how did I get this? Where in my environment am I exposed to, cancer-causing toxins? Where is that? And it was everywhere. So it was in my house cleaner, it was in my shampoos and facial wash, makeup, skincare, toothpaste, everything. It was everywhere. But what I was always told my whole life is, they're just little. It's just a little bit. Well, my cells are so little, I can't even see them. So now I'm getting a little bit out of all these different products, and now, I have the big C word. So
the word bioregion and the term bioregionalism come out of two different organizations thinking in the early 1980s about what it would take to address the environmental crisis. And these two groups, in very separate ways, saw that despite the successes of environmentalism, it was not solving the problem. In fact, things were getting worse and worse and worse in an accelerated way. And so they stopped and said, what do we need to do to reverse this trend? And we can look at climate change as one example of this, but there are many. Toxic buildup, the depletion of the oceans, contamination of water, loss of topsoil, loss of forest land, desertification. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Those who are paying attention to see that the planet is rapidly driving towards a cliff. So they asked, what would it take to reverse that trend? And the movement came out of that.
The question of whether compassion could be a basis for economics is actually, we should think about whether that's possible. And a lot of people would just kind of dismiss that as just a crank kind of concept. basically, an economics of compassion has the advantage, not that it's going to give us a lot of easy answers to the questions, the kinds of stuff that's really anybody that thinks carefully is thinking about these days. It's not going to give us easy answers to that, but it will give us a way forward. I think it's something of a path. And the other thing is that it can actually be practiced in an uncompassionate environment. You know, it doesn't really, practicing some sort of compassionate behavior or policy or whatever doesn't depend on someone else having instituted that or someone else behaving that way. We actually have to start with ourselves.
You do know that there's a lot going on in Sullivan County in the area of renewable energy. And I had come to talk about that in specific terms, but I think there's far more useful thing to do, and that's to exchange into dialogue. It's very easy to design a solar electric system for anyone or any town. We could do it in 5 minutes as long as we have essential data, which is on half a sheet of paper. So that's not the critical thing. The critical thing is our hearts aligned and with our actions and actions with our hearts, and have our minds been informed both by the great danger that looms before us and the great responsibility that we have to allow the children's children, that's 2 generations out, to have a future.